Welcome back, delegates, for our next round of panel discussion. The topic for the panel discussion will be the shift to digital transformation and expanding role of digitalization in NBFC. Our panelists for this discussion will be Dr. Nagarajan Raveendran, Chief Information Officer, Sakthi Finance Limited, who will be moderating the session. Mr. Durgaprasad Swaminathan, Chief Information Officer, Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company Limited. Mr. Rahul Chopra, Chief Digital Officer, Clix Capital, and Mr. Nilesh Patel, Chief Executive Officer, Leadsquared. Also, Mr. Srikanth Appana, Executive Vice President, Information Technology, Bharat Financial Inclusion Limited. Over to you, Mr. Raveendran. Mr. Raveendran.
Yeah. Good morning to you all, and welcome for this panel discussion. And I think the topic is very relevant to the current context, because I'm taking the topic now. It is under the context for the ongoing pandemic situation. It is the role of digital transformation or the digitization for NBFCs. It's all very eminent now in the pandemic situation. So the topic will be covered during the panel discussion now with the specific to the, again I'm repeating, specific to the context of ongoing pandemic situation. And pandemic situation, I think you're all aware, is turned the NBFC industry upside down. And of course, in some part of India like Tamil Nadu, and all know, I think we recovered a bit in the past 3-4 months, but now I think we are back to square A, and now the situation is very bad comparing the wave one. And you all know very well now, I think the VUCA situation we are facing now, it's like a war. It is a medical war. It's happening in India. Volatility, highly uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, and all. And the role of CAOs are very, very eminent now. I used to mention in many forums, the CAOs are the COVID warriors. To support the organization, to do the business, I think whatever possible way. And I think I always mention the 4 focus areas which CEOs should support the company NBFC where we are all working in the area of whatever context may be, digitalization or digital transformation. The core 4 areas are, one is handling the customers effectively. And again, it can be for new business or handling the existing business. And collection is very, very important for NBFCs. You all can appreciate. And the second important focus area is taking care of the employees. The working from home is become a new normal now. And getting the maximum out of them with suitable enablement. And that's also another key focus. In fact, in the panel discussion also, we are going to talk one specific context of that. And changing the processes to face the pandemic scenario. We were doing certain process in certain sequence earlier, A, B, C, D, E. But there is no need to follow the same sequence now, because we have to handle the situation in a very, very innovative and efficient manner than the original way. I can call it as the A, B, C, D, E can be cut short, so that the TAT can be increased, the customer can be benefited. The 4th area we have to take care of is fulfilling the compliance part. That is very, very relevant for NBFCs. I think all the audience in the NBFC segment or the panelists can very well appreciate this. Compliance is a very important thing, and whatever way possible, we have to use that digitization part to fulfill the compliance is very, very important. And especially in the pandemic scenario, we are all working offline. we can't be an exception to that. And another very, very important area is information security. And today I read in a newspaper, like, the vulnerabilities are exponentially growing during the pandemic period. So it is a responsibility of the CEOs like us, to take care of this also with whatever possible ways. So this I want to take it as a backdrop. And without much ado, I thought, like, I'll straight away go inside the panel, because we have 4 eminent panelists today, to deliberate on the relevant areas, which are, again, I'm repeating to the context of digital transformation or digitization or digitalization with respect to our company's thing, again, especially on the pandemic scenario. And to take it up thing, first, in fact, I want to take the views of Srikanth. And the part is like, the matter I want to get the input from him is, how important is digitization for NBFC amid the pandemic? I think, Srikanth, please, give your views, please.
Sure. Thanks, Raveendran, for setting the stage. I totally could say that there is one thing common in all of us today. We all are fighting the second wave pandemic situation, both personally and professionally, at the best capacities as we can. While protecting your family, is a high priority. At the same time, protecting our organizations, capacities, we all know that only 25% of the workforce is currently working in any organization you take, and we are trying our best. And I really want to congratulate all of us for defending this pandemic situation, doing the best what we can. Thanks for that. And yeah, on the digitization, yes, absolutely, digitization is the way to move forward. I remember 5 years back when BFIL was an SKS microfinance, where we were trying to do some digitization program. Now it's a BFIL is a subsidiary of Indusind Bank, but 5 years back when NBFC firm, it's called SKS Microfinance. So 5 years back, we are trying to set up a digitization framework. The reason I want to go back 5 years back, because this is very important to explain how the NBFC as a SKS microfinance has benefited this particular digitization. It could be a pandemic or non-pandemic situation. So a typical business case was a loan officer comes to a branch, prints his day-to-day work from a desktop, goes to the villages, to the field operations, and comes back and punches his data onto a computer. This was a business case. What we did was we introduced tablet as a journey, as a digitalization journey during that program 5 years back. And I would call that phase is a digitalization, is a phase one of entire digitalization. The definition of digitalization was just to convert your analog data to digital data. So get the tablet, connect to your desktop, sync on a local cable, convert the analog data to digital data and do your operation. This was the first transformation of the entire digital journey, what we did. Then followed the digital transformation of transforming the business the way you operate. Once you have tablet introduced, we got peripherals connected, biometric devices and all that. And today, BFIL is into extreme digitization, ensuring that bringing a digital journey, like, especially in this pandemic situation, introducing digitization between customer experiences or collaboration between departments or cyber security, digitization cyber security, the way you do the application development, agile DevOps. So these are top 3 or 4 pillars where we are trying to do some extreme digitization. So every organization, especially in this pandemic, should have a digital framework. One should have a digitalization as a phase one. Phase two is transformation. Phase three is extreme digitization. Top benefits, any organization, any business case you take, it will improve your or eliminate your redundancies, human errors, cuts your operating cost. 4 is also, having a proper communication channel between departments in the organization. I would say these are the top benefits I can say by introducing a proper digital framework in a phased approach. Yeah, Ravindra.
Thanks, Srikanth. I think I could able to infer some good insights in whatever you communicated. Like one like area you nicely indicated the need for communication and collaboration among the stakeholders. I think that is very relevant to know in the current scenario with respect to automation or digitization, whatever it may be. Because see, all are working from home. The necessity to collaborate and communicate and so that the gap between the customers, especially customers, and the relative marketing or collection team, this should not be felt at all. So that point you nicely touched upon. And another thing you also mentioned about the development area using the DevOps and agile thing, so that I think that will again give the obvious benefits in the overall the company's perspective. Nicely said, Srikanth. So now I'll just move to our Swaminathan from Cholamandalam, and this will be a very apt question in the current scenario. See, we always know like sandwiched between CEOs or sandwiched between CEOs and CFOs. I think you all can understand when suppose we ask money for some budget to implement maybe a security measure, or you want to put a small software component, some hardware component, then always the liquidity factor will come in. So Swaminathan, how I think you are managing this in Cholamandalam? I think this is a very practical question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Thank you, Dr. Raveendran, and good morning, all. I think it's a very apt question you put, and I know very relevant, especially like you rightly said, the technology teams are typically caught between the growth aspirations that the business has and the kind of a financial controllership, responsibility that a CFO typically carries. And our aim is to make sure we are able to, meet the kind of expectations of both. And some of that, especially in the current situation, there have been a lot of new areas that, we had to spend more on. If you take the way a lot of remote working came into place or almost forced upon us, the digital technology team now has to take on the responsibility of making sure we have clear remote working solutions in place, securing the remote working solutions. Then you go about how do you digitize and make the user journeys or customer journeys so much more easy for a customer to take on our products and services and reach out to us. And I think finally, how do you make sure you have ability to open up new channels, especially when a lot of the people-to-people, face-to-face interactions are no longer there, whether it is a matter of telephony or bots and so on. So all of these end up being additional spend areas that you may have kind of phased out or planned over a period of time, and a lot of that now gets forced upon us. So definitely it becomes like a hey, you never said this kind of spend will come in, so we need to go about and make that case in front of the CFO. But the way we have been going about that is two parts. One, if you look at it from kind of a near term, a lot of this that we are doing is in some ways offsetting alternate costs that you would have had otherwise. Let's say if you take a classic case of a video KYC or a video personal discussion, a lot of that would have involved time, effort, and maybe some kind of a travel cost for somebody to go in person and carry out that, especially in cases for Chola where we are in tier 3, tier 4 kind of locations where you will have a lot of time and effort involved to go there. So if you're able to digitize that, then you are eliminating that piece from a productivity perspective. And you're also digitizing what would have been a bit more error prone into something that is more predictable and having better data quality. And you can also offset a lot of these digital spends against what have been a typical T&L cost and so on. So that is from a near-term perspective in terms of how you are making the case for these kind of new costs coming in. But I think more importantly, we need to look at it that these are pieces that you need to be doing anyway. And in a way, the pandemic has forced the rate of adoption of this within the organization. So a lot of the digitization initiatives, maybe it's a matter of capacity, a matter of spend, you would have kind of phased out over a period of time. And what you're doing now is saying, okay, we don't have an option. We need to push down. And that's also, in a way, making it easy for us to, there will be a lot of digital naysayers within the organization. And this gives an opportunity to showcase and show the true value and overcome any objections they have. And in the long term, what you would realize is if you are not doing that, a lot of these digital initiatives are essentially table stakes for organizations to survive in the future. If you don't do that, you will be disrupted by the new age organizations or the fintechs. And if you're not doing that, maybe you will be struggling to hold on to your business over the future period. So that's kind of how you probably been pushing for the cases to say this is how we need to go about and adopt these new solutions. And purely from a liquidity perspective, the well kind of recognized or organizations that are recognized as prudent and so on, at least have a bit more ease of getting liquidity from the banks and in the market. And I think government has also put in substantial measures to make sure that even if there are maybe smaller NBFCs, they get the kind of liquidity and funding in place, because ultimately they are the ones who go and reached out to the people who are typically unbanked, who are really in need of credit at this point in time.
Yes, Somnathan, I think you covered that in a holistic manner. Two areas I'll just quickly sum up before moving to the next topic. One is convincing the management or the CFO by telling the clear benefits ROI is one thing you nicely conveyed. And you rightly pointed out one area I like, that is, suppose if we are not investing on this, what will be the course? I think that's a point in fact I'm taking a good thing. And liquidity crunch, that's a general issue everywhere, but that may not be correlated with the investment on the IT part. In fact, you take my NBFC also where I'm employed, I think out of 100 rupees with the annual business plan, 75 rupees are for IT. So we rather took a lot of pain and efforts to get convinced on the part, not only the management, in the board level. So definitely like the CEO's key responsibility is to convince the management on the part of IT investments with ROI, cost versus benefit, and what is the TAT reduction, etc., etc. And of course, support the management to avoid or minimize the liquidity crunch by way of the digital enablement of the payments, etc., etc. Thanks, Somnathan. I think you nicely narrated it. I think next, I think another important area I think in the panel we are going to touch upon. Always I think the important core area for any NBFC is serving the customers. There is no doubt. But one thing we call it as a reaching the underbanked. In fact, in our company, our management, they used to say reaching the unreachable. Okay, with technology. So how we can achieve this, or how we can accomplish this, is a thing I'm going to ask Mr. Rahul of Clix. Over to Rahul, please.
Hi everyone. I mean, while there is no question that technology is transforming the way everyone accesses the financial services, and technology is playing a key role in bringing revolution within the formerly excluded group, that is the underbanked. So underbanked market group is mostly comprised of the low-income families and individuals. And to our surprise, this includes 19 crores of adults in India. The market is huge, right? So the underbanked historically been overlooked in lending institutions as well. due to the higher risk profile and the lower perceived profitability. Now, I would say that there are 4 themes that are emerging and can way financial services industry to increase the access and meet the social goals while also preserving the profitability in this segment. And the 4 themes are interestingly 4 M's that are mobile, micro, media, and mining. So the first one surrounds the ubiquity of mobile devices. I mean, there's another data point, very interesting data point for all of us, is that more than 2 billion people worldwide do not have bank account, but they do have mobile. So what does it mean is that mobile phone is a direct channel to a significant portion of the world's underbank, right? Uh, so as I said, under the 4th theme, the first is mobile. Let's talk about the micro, right? So the creative use of widespread mobile services is also enabling the growth of microfinance. And we are seeing that there is a good growth around all sort of microfinance institutions. So micropayments have made the foundation for that widespread, I would say. And micro lending is also getting benefited out of it, and it's going too fast. Cash used to be the main barrier to financial inclusion. So we all know that it's no more a case. Lots and lots of people are going out of cash and lending into those digital payments. So thanks to those multiple payment options that we have. Interestingly, the new media approach is also influencing this underbanked, segment, wherein uh, the digital marketing and the way means of reviewing the unstructured data is also start making more and more sense when you talk about lending into the 4th leg, which is the data mining. So finally, onto the data mining stuff, I would say that financial services now able to create what they used to create a risk profile basis the credit score and some other standard qualification, which was more of a structured data mining wherein you used to get traditional financial forms such as the insurance claims or bank account to do the risk assessment. But now, with the modern age, the social and society mining searches are providing us a lot of unstructured data like demography, interest, blog posts you can read. So you're able to know more and more about your customer, even if the fellow don't have the bank account. Right? So that exploration through the mass public and the private data is enabling financial institutions to build non-traditional risk profiles and identifying more new reliable customers. So, to your point, I would say that it's quite simply evident that the power of technology has removed several barriers as we speak, and it is continuously making a hell lot of advancement in the new demographics. And now, without the traditional upfront investment that are required from banks or financial institutions, the financial firms can deliver services at a lower cost and open their doors to the underbanked as well. So that's how my view is.
Thanks, Rahul. I think you touched upon that nucleus areas, to reap, the benefits or taking the customers from the unreachable areas. I think one is like mobility part. Yes, it's correct. I can give one example also. When we did a study, and the reachable part, customers, especially in the rural, and again, uneducated customer segment also, WhatsApp is better. I'm not advocating WhatsApp here, but I'm just giving examples. Even WhatsApp reach is better than SMS. So here the reachable point, that's what I can able to infer from your mobility part. And you also talk about the microfinancing aspect, and you touched upon the digital marketing content, and you also covered like mining, data mining, so that the suitable measures can be taken to the marketing team, or they can take suitable measures, initiatives to reach the unreachable customers.
Start
I think
taking,
thanks Rahul for that.
yeah, start
And
taking from the unstructured data. So you have today, we have, because of the digital presence, we have the power of reading the unstructured data and creating the inference. And I think the social channels are helping us a lot. Good that you touched upon WhatsApp. Well, I just want to, for the benefit of the audience, I would like to share, and while my other colleagues also touched upon digital, that when you say SMS and WhatsApp, so I mean Clix is known to be a digital first NBFC. So we do have those mediums enabled. I just give you a data point. Wherein in our case, the SMS penetration is 2%, whereas WhatsApp is 52%. So you can imagine that how easy it is for our customer to interact with us onto WhatsApp. They are downloading their statements. They get to know about their loan status. Even if they have to apply for new loan, they can go onto WhatsApp and they are doing that. So a huge difference, 2% versus 52%. I mean, I think that's the power of digital interface.
That's why I touched upon that specific example very relevantly, Rahul. And digital marketing also helps you to reach the thing. In fact, I can quote quickly before move to the next point. I think during the last pandemic part, I think we unfortunately got into one public issue of non-convertible debentures. Exactly, during the last April. In fact, we were worried. Then, in fact, digital marketing, it helped us in a greater way. And in fact, very fortunately, with all these initiatives, we got oversubscribed particularly. And now, NBFCs, in India, they have to improve the online sales. They have to definitely, I touched upon in the initial operational efficiency. They have to enhance the customer experience, etc., under the part of digital transformation. So, what are the measures that can be taken by NBFCs in this regard? Nilesh, I think you are from Leadsquared. Definitely, you might have experience in serving some of the customers in this area. Can you give your views in a generic way, Nilesh?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Raveendran. So Leadsquared is of course a technology provider to wide variety of businesses, including banking and financial services. And we've been around for 10 years, and I've seen, and obviously you all are more closer to the action than we are. We are mostly a support provider to institutions. But while we work with multiple industries, the lead generation piece and the customer experience piece is the forefront of what most of our customers see on a day-to-day basis. And we happen to serve a lot of customers who are selling to consumers directly. And many things I can share, which I believe I've observed and continue to see a landscape change in the lending ecosystem. So fundamentally, Dr. Raveendran, as you pointed out, the digital marketing helped your firm. So widening the funnel on the top end is an important piece for all the NBFCs and all the credit institutions. And earlier the channels were either direct or partner led, mostly offline for large percentage of the NBFCs, which is now changing. Some of them have moved to digital. But beyond that, so digital in a sense of, you spending your money to get a lead and sort of follow that process. But one big change, as we all observed, has come through the fintechs and the new distribution, mechanisms. All the new age fintech companies, the payment players, right? They are a huge funnel, top of the funnel providers, and at some point people will access them, and their traffic to drive in and choose customers, from that traffic. That's one important piece. Second is the whole, ability to reach a wider number of resellers in the market, the agents, for example, right? So through physical channel, we were able to serve a certain percentage, but then, if we can recruit more agents digitally, we'll get access to their customers and what they do. Third is in serving our customers, what we've seen is point of sale, credit solutions at the point of sale is of course become more and more important. It's commonly known that you would offer a credit solution at point of sale for consumer goods and other such purchases for the consumer. But while we serve a lot of education providers, we've seen influx of credit decisions happening while our customer salespeople are selling, let's say, some education product to a customer, and at that point, the credit solutions are being offered. So again, that becomes a new way to fill the funnel and offer credit solution. And there could be multiple things which are being offered there, basis who is the best credit provider for a customer type. And also, if you see the need from these technology education providers, they also want to onboard a customer, so they'll need multiple options to serve the credit needs of the customer. So somebody, highest quality customer may be given to somebody who has the lowest interest rate, and so on and so forth. So that's again is happening at the point of sale. And there are providers, specialist providers, who are coming in who are just doing that piece only and sourcing the demand, and then plugging in the lending institutions on the back end to provide the right credit products to the customer. And then finally, the point of payment, right? So wherever we've seen that places where employees are getting their salaries, for example, right? And so that's a point of payment to someone, and the credit solutions are being bundled and offered in that sense to the so basically fundamentally everybody's trying to go to closer to the either the point of purchase or point of payment to basically source it. And then so that's one big change as we continue to see, and some of that lands to us in terms of how we can help them in some of these places. And since we are a sales solution provider, so some of that comes as a part of how we sort of integrate with these institutions on the back end. That's A part. B is the whole online piece we talked about, and I think Rahul and others touched upon it. The whole WhatsApp revolution, people requesting on their own. I think WhatsApp is an important piece of the puzzle in driving the customer self-service. But customer self-service or the partner self-service is an important component of every fintech player and the new age institutions. So you got to give that interface to the customer to do some of their stuff on their own and find the product they're looking for. Give the credit decisions when they are trying to they're trying to evaluate multiple products. And so there is a lot of happening. I mean, a lot of players, I'm sure everybody is aware of the app-based lenders, right? So that's again an important piece. The customers are will tend to take the easy route of applying and getting credit wherever it is available to them the fastest, right? And then the whole experience, we talked about experience a little bit, but as every institution evolves, right, you start with one product, but then you have other products, and you continue to introduce new and newer products, right? So every institution would have some multi-product situation for them. And the technology efficiency, technology will be required to build those workflows to create new product offerings and build the operational efficiencies on the back end, so that things move faster from a credit decision perspective to the customer. And I think those are again an important area where we have contributed in the ecosystem and provided the solution for reducing the turnaround time, making sure the credit decisions are happening more accurately, and integrating with the third-party services which help and enable that. So net, Widening the distribution is what I see is one of the key things which is happening in the marketplace, because of the everybody today, all the large consumer players have consumers with them. How can they be harvested and potentially offered as a as a lead, we may call, to the lenders, is where a lot of action is happening and continue to happen, is how we have seen it evolve in the market.
Thanks, Nilesh, for your insights. I think covered in an elaborative manner. I thought I can quickly sum up also. I think forming agent or broker network through digitally is one point. I think that's very relevant to the NBFCs actually. Instead of direct sourcing the customers, that in fact many NBFCs follow. In fact, we at Sakthi and also we follow that actually. And point of sales approach, not only for business as well as for collection, is one part that is very relevant. That is more or less all the NBFC they follow, but there are a lot of areas that can be improved over there. And next one is the core part. I think we all concentrate is the pipeline management system. You talked about funnel management, etc. That is very important, to monitor and see that they are all getting materialized as business. That in fact we used to do generally, but now it is more relevant in the pandemic scenario. There should be a tighter follow-up. Of course, a software tool is needed to do that. I don't know, Leadsquared has a strong area into that, I know that. But many NBFCs, they use many software tools, etc., with clear integration to the LOS or whatever it may be. And one point I really like, the rating the customer and serving them better. Normally in our management, we used to call that as a customer can be taken into the green channel. Suppose he has a good track record. And suppose then in that case, certain formalities can be bypassed, and then they can be served better. Is one area you nicely touched upon. And self-service part, that also is very, very important. It can be customer self-service, or it can be a self-service for the marketing team, or it can be for the agents also. And handling the multi-products and services effectively. Optly, Nilesh. Thank you. And actually, normally for CEOs, we have always some agenda, roles, standard objectives, etc. And of course, every year we project to the board, management, and all. But my thing I want to get from Srikanth is any specific goals are tuned or refined or new goals finalized to take care of the second wave of pandemic. I think that will be very interesting to hear from Srikanth. It will be very beneficial to the audience and for us also. Please, Srikanth.
Yeah. There are two top priorities we are working on, especially to handle this pandemic situation. One is definitely an agile DevOps. With this situation around, we cannot deny the fact that too much of change in the business priorities in form of new requirements or change requirement, hot fixes to your production environment, changing the form factors of the product. This is all something that your engineering team should be good enough and ready to handle this kind of request with very less tax and SLAs. So we are working on to have an agile DevOps as part of our organic strategy to gain velocity and maximize responsiveness with a perfect software planning and management. My engineering team in this situation has got scattered in different parts of cities and states around. We have testing because vendors, partners working with us. So you have design, you have test, you have security, you have production support scattered across. So we have to ensure that everyone follow a single framework Though we may have your SDLCs, waterfalls, and all that, but having DevOps also will not be helpful at this stage. You need to have an agile DevOps with a proper framework so that all this engineering team collaboration, right from inception to planning to development and to handoff to operations, is very, very important for it. So that is one area we are spending a lot of time and effort to mature our engineering operation. And of course, we will take best of cloud technologies to jumpstart wherever required as part of the hybrid strategies. That is one area. And one suggestion or an advice to the viewers is, in this pandemic situation, as part of your product strategies, I would recommend always go for an upgrade, not to replace any of your core systems, because because production is definitely an uncontrolled environment, especially the field support. So upgrading could be the nice option till the pandemic wave comes down. Then we can think of replacing any of your core systems or important systems. So that is one priority we are working on, maturing our engineering operations. Two is, which is very, very much needed at this hour, is security, IT security, information security. So we are trying to have a proper cyber resilience framework in terms of protecting your DevOps environment. So it's something like DevSecOps. So ensure that security is part of your development. That is one top priority. Do your application monitoring through VAPT scores. Ensure that applications are properly exposed to internet. Protect your endpoints. It could be your desktops or tablets or any devices. So you need to ensure your protection with endpoints, and obviously the SOC investigation. Ensure that you have a proper incident management response team in place, either through partners, vendors, or in-house. So these are the top priorities we feel that very important to handle this pandemic situation, ensuring that you are protected, your organization is protected with the right collaboration and communication between departments and between the engineering team as well.
Thanks, Srikanth. I think you communicated. No, I think whatever you intend to do that in a very crisp manner. So I can just sum up again. And I think your core strength, I think you are more focusing on the development of the solutions within the organization for the benefit of the internal and external stakeholders. That's what I am inferring. So you are always talking about agility and that DevOps sort of approach, so that the development can be properly done in a structured manner. It can be completed in time to reap the benefits without further delay, especially in the pandemic scenario. That is a good point, I think I could able to infer. Second is cloud adoption, no doubt. I think now we talk about SMAC now, social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. I think we touched upon in the earlier panelists also, they touched upon social, also touched upon mobility and cloud analytics. So you touched upon the cloud area, everything. And one good message you give, in this point of time, don't try to replace anything. If it is, unless the it is very inevitable, try to upgrade things so that the cycle will be shortened, so that benefits can be given to the ultimate stakeholders. That's another good point. And four important point you mentioned is obvious is on security. And security should not be compromised in that pandemic situation. There is no doubt at all. And whether proper VAPT application or network environment and proper handling of the incident management to minimize the downtime, to service end users. I think there is a great messages, Srikanth. Thanks a lot for them. And next discussion is about I think I also indicated during the initial stage setting part of the panel discussion, the key stakeholders in the panel, I mean, in the pandemic situation is our own employees. I think they're all isolated. They are all working from home, and the level of pressure is being given to them. It's not only IT employees, or it can be for the marketing team or collection team, complaints team, etc. And there, what are things we are hearing? No, are they having a right morale in working, or are they having some like satisfaction in doing things, or they have any like disgruntled approach in that sort of thing? And especially the point I want to touch upon, how it is affecting the mental health during this pandemic situation actually. So I want to hear initially the insights about this from Swaminathan of Cholamandalam. Please, Swaminathan.
Yep. I think that's a very interesting point, and I guess to kind of get an idea of where people stand today in terms of their mental state of affairs, I think we need to probably look at how things have transpired in the past 15 months or so. And I don't know, but this is kind of what I see has been reflective within the organization and the people I've interacted with. When the pandemic had an onset and people shifted from the office-based working to remote working, initially there was a lot of kind of excitement. People felt they were more productive. The time spent in commute and all that was being offset. They could do more things, and I thought there was an initial kind of an surge in productivity, and also people felt more happy and comfortable there. But I think that didn't last too long, and people slowly realized that some of the work-life boundaries that were a bit more well set before were now kind of getting blurred, and the working hours got longer. Work got stretched into weekends and so on, and it is in many cases understandable, because as an organization, as a company, and people as a whole, meaning those were very different circumstances, and everybody had to step up to do that. But then it slowly started taking its toll on the whole kind of stress and the perception of people that maybe, hey, this is not happening the way it was looking up earlier. So a lot of the feedback when you talk to people, they said, hey, maybe once the office opens, we want to come back to work. We kind of miss that whole face-to-face interaction and so on. So that kind of happened there. And again, now, obviously, with the second wave, some of the baby steps we are taking to bring people back to work has all been rolled back. And now what we are trying to do is tackle this across the organization, is look at how do we make sure the whole mental state of our employees is covered in a cohesive fashion, right? I mean, how do we work with them? So this spans, in my view, on one hand, their physical well-being. Second is their own emotional and social well-being, and third is the whole the financial well-being. So from an emotional well-being and social well-being, as an organization, we have been having a lot of online interactions and, involving even family members. So it could be a kids' arts contest or some creative people demonstrating their music skills and so on. So there is a greater sense of, belonging and engagement that helps people overcome the kind of distancing that we see in current circumstances. On the physical front, there have been ways to encourage people to either be more physically active, especially when you are typically desk bound, kind of 12 or more hours a day. You don't want that to have a lasting physical impact. So encouraging people to do different forms of exercises. We do online sessions, so say yoga or meditation and so on, to bring that kind of improvement in the way they do that. And the third aspect, like I mentioned, is on the financial well-being. With the second wave, what seemed distant in terms of impact to the people is now hit people much closer to their hearts. People have seen themselves or their near and dear ones getting impacted and then recovered, or in some tragic cases actually lost people close to them. So, and then it's not only limited to that part, but also the kind of financial impact that has had in terms of, the kind of payouts you need to make on the medical front, hospitalization, and so on. So making sure we are there for them as an organization to help them, whether starting from an insurance perspective, making sure, from a payroll and compensation perspective, they are covered. And in the worst cases, the family is covered to a large extent for, a good foreseeable future. Making sure those kind of assurances are there in front of the people. All these are, in my view, going to be critical to making sure that, the mental state of the employee is at the right place. We can't, and that's a lot of a combination as an organization, and also maybe creating some kind of a support groups within individual teams. All that collectively will help address this part.
Yeah, thanks, Swaminathan. I think, in fact, you touched all the areas very nicely. Because there is a joke, I think prevailing in the earlier wave one also, I think, what are the things you are really missing for those employed, in the pandemic scenario? Many, they said, I think I'm missing my coffee in the office. I'm missing the gossips in the office. And, I think I miss the specific interactions with my close friends in the office, in the canteen, etc., etc. But the main point came in, the balancing of life was really missed up. Like, either we go to the full swing, like, extra hours in the part of office or at home also. I think many of the CEOs know they are suffering a lot in managing that, because our better offs they load us also heavily during the pandemic situation. So earlier we 9 o'clock, come back 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then there is balance. Then you can take care of this. But here you have to take care of both. This is the majority of the response came in from the employed people actually. This is true only in many aspects. But you said the work-life balance part, ensuring that, and emotional and financial well-being that has to be addressed. See, like employees should feel like, I think we are not left aside during this pandemic situation. If something happens, then the management is there to support us. That actually most of the NBFCs are already taking care in some extra manner also. Like you touched upon, I think weekly once they conduct some program to expose the talents of them in case of music or magic or some other skills and all, to engage them along with family is one approach. And in case of any hospitalization and other areas, in fact, in my company, I think that may be the case with all. There is a team exclusively formed for this purpose. If message is reached, one of the CEOs or his family members or her family members are affected, this team will work along. I think for the hospitalization part and intermittently talking to them and giving support to their family in case the CEO is hospitalized, and till he recovers or come back and he's getting quarantined and come to the normalcy. That I think that gives a great strength, and that agony part, mental agony part, definitely is taken care over there. And you touched upon that psychological counseling. In fact, I belong to, nothing wrong in mentioning, I belong to one group called CEO Club. In Coimbatore, we have one. I'm the president of it. In fact, for the past 6 months, we conducted 3 sessions with famous psychiatrists, how to counsel that family members, including ladies, children, during the pandemic situation. So mental health part, in fact, is very much affected due to many reasons. One is like due to being at home, unusual, though you are doing the job for a very longer period, and in fact you are in a different area altogether. So there, how you have to balance your life, and in case suppose you are affected, then how you have to take care of that, and while recovering, how's to be done, especially how to manage the children. They are also at home. So this part, I think you rightly touched upon. Thanks a lot, Swaminathan, for that. And since this is a very, I think, relevant topic, and relevant area for this thing. No, I thought like I'll ask Rahul also from Clix, the inputs on the same area. How I think, in your entity, the mental health of the employees are being managed. Over to Rahul.
Yeah. Thanks, Durgaprasad, for covering very extensively around this thing. And Dr. Raveendran, you also touched upon some critical points. So I'll not repeat all that, but just to add more, so what we have done is that quickly we have tied up with the home care facility from Max brand. Okay. So that we'll try to give care at home itself, so the nursing at home. So that's a corporate tie-up that we have done. We found that people were struggling with the medicine as well, so we quickly tied up with right on a corporate deal for our employees. We found that they were dealing with the problems to get the right consult from a doctor, right? Be it a video consult, but they were struggling to get the right doctor, right? And so we provided a doctor who have dealt with more than 3,000 cases, COVID cases only, a very senior doctor, and then we requested that doctor to be on the panel to say that, okay, we have done an employee communication wherein we said that this doctor will be there for Clix from 11 and from 4 to 6. In these two time windows, you can get call, and you're not even supposed to make payment to the doctor because that will be taken care by the company. So these sort of stuff we have done quickly, and we are into now vaccination drive for our employees. So that is again we are tied up again with the 1 mg only for the vaccination, and we are about to get confirmation from Max Healthcare for that. So these are the stuff that we've done apart from the way you have said that we have formed a new committee. We immediately formed that group and we said that wherever your near and dear, your immediate family, or even in your extended family, you need some help, we are there for you. So those sort of stuff we have done, wherein the list of oxygen cylinder providers, the ambulatory service providers, we have done those arrangements for our employees. On top of it, the only one statement that we got from our chairman was that please manage the emotional coach. Okay, do the emotional assessment of the employee. Right now, that's the most important, right? Because we realize that it is not only about us who were into pressure, right? So you would have created a committee, so the committee will be in pressure. We are also dealing with emotional pressures, right? But imagine the pressure at their end, who is dealing with that family member or with their own self. So that's the thing that we try to balance for the employees to say that guys, we are there, we are just phone call away. Even if you not appear on phone, just drop a WhatsApp, we'll take care of you. So that's how it is. And we are publishing dashboard as well every day, stating that how many employees were infected and their family members. Even in the dashboard, we publish the family member data as well. Unfortunately, just to clear Clix, in Clix, 30% of employees got COVID positive. So they were into the health state. So that was the hit we got immediately in first 10 days, but we managed it. We are still in touch with, our employees.
Okay, Rahul. Thanks a lot. I think I feel some unique approach. I think what Clix is following. I think one is that counseling arrangement with a panel of doctors, so that that employees can get counsel. That seems to be very nice and encouraging one. And communicating about that taking care of during the pandemic situation through dashboard or some other mode. I think these two really very nice points, Rahul, you conveyed. I think we are in the fag end of our session, but I don't want to leave Nilesh because I want to post one very good question. But Nilesh, I request you to give just in a very crisp way, just 1 or 2 points. Like, in this scenario, how we have to enhance the relationship of our customers with the company. Because this is a very big area, but the relationship of the customers, it matters, correct? Especially in the pandemic scenario, because retaining a customer is very important than getting new customers. So can you just communicate in a very precise manner in your approach how the relationship can be sustained or enhanced during this pandemic scenario? Nilesh, over to you. You can please you can quickly cover it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'll be very quick. I think empathy is the crux of any relationship. And in this scenario, I think what Rahul highlighted, I think fundamentally, if you first thing is to take care of people who take care of your customers. So if we take that first step, first good step, and then also customers will be going through their own challenges at this time. So being empathetic to that situation, I think. Technology is always available to do many things, but I think the crux is if we can just drive empathy here, the results, or at least the relationship will continue and just strengthen with the customers. So that will be the only message or thinking I have at this point on that, especially in pandemic.
I think that is very clearly conveyed, because see, though the government is giving a lot of measures in the form of moratorium, other benefits, etc., but dealing the customer in an empathetic way, I think you rightly put upon, Nilesh. I really appreciate on that. In fact, we used to pass the messages to our marketing and other collection team and all while talking to them. Don't straight away jump into what happened in the business collection and all. Talk to them. So how are you? How is your family? I think I came to know you got affected and all. How are you now? Even Asif, are you there? Someone anchoring, the Elets part?
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Ravi sir. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Are we taking any questions, or can we take the questions offline, because it's exactly 1 hour and 1 minute?
We can. Yeah, we can take the questions offline.
Okay. Because you have other sessions also. In that case,
Exactly, sir.
I think as far as this panel discussion is concerned, in fact, I am rather enriched with a lot of insights from our panel members. I think the panel team, they were very supportive, and we got a lot of insights. And I hope the audience also definitely got benefited out of it.
Exactly. So we are still live right now. So I thank you all for your valuable session. It was really insightful. Thank you for participating, and thank you, Raveendran sir, CIO of Sakthi Finance, Srikanth sir from BFIL, Nilesh Patel sir from Leadsquared, and Durgaprasad sir Swaminathan from Cholamandalam, and Rahul Chopra sir from Clix Capital. Thank you for participating, and we after post this we're gonna have a lunch break. So stay tuned. After that, we will be coming up for the other session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, dear friends. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It was a very nice and lively session. Thanks a lot once again.